Welcome to the greatest podcast in sports betting entertainment. My name is Tanner Kern, certified G, bonafide stud, and you can't teach that. And this right here, this is G Money Grant Mitchell. Stefon Diggs is washed up, and you can't teach that. Bada boom, man. The people in the room, G Money Grant Mitchell. How you doing?
I saw the gears turning there. I was wondering where you were going with that one. I'm doing good, Tanner.
That's good. Stefon Diggs, dumb, washed up. And we're going to go through some comments today, Grant, too, because the comments on the video that I posted about Stefon Diggs being washed up and stupid were very funny.
Yeah, the comments are not happy with you.
No, I don't get it because he's washed up. Anyways, Grant, how you doing today? Feeling good?
Yeah, I'm doing good. It's a pretty overcast day out here. A lot of rain, a lot of clouds. I know it's like that on a lot of the East Coast. Don't know how it is up there in the New England area, but I'm good. It's Thursday. The NBA playoffs are finally starting to end, so it's going to be weird not getting high leverage sports on the TV screen every night. I mean, we had NFL playoffs, March Madness, NBA playoffs. It's finally starting to wind down. So, I mean, I guess it's all hands on deck for baseball until the preseason gets here.
The NBA playoffs came out on fire. I think the first few rounds were really good. And then now it's just been boring for the past whatever. The conference finals and the finals are going to be boring as well because the Thunder put belt to ass. The Knicks fans think they won a championship after beating the Celtics. They got belt put to ass, and now nobody cares. I think hockey's been okay though, but nobody really not many people care about hockey. Sorry, hockey.
Yeah, it's not a national sport, if you know what I mean.
Playoff hockey is pretty intense though. I just can't get into it because I don't watch it a lot. Like if I had a bet cooking, I'd be more into it. I got no bets. Like I'm not going to turn on hockey and be like, oh, can the Florida Panthers win again? Like I really don't care. I watch the Red Sox every night. Now they're now 4 games under 500. It's debilitating.
Oh, so we didn't plan on talking about this, but here's a question for you. I don't know if you've seen odds for Aaron Judge to hit 400 this year. They opened at plus 25,000. They got down to plus 15,000. Do you think there's any chance this actually happens?
No, I haven't seen his batting average in a while. It was starting to drop. I don't know.
It was 398 when I looked 2 days ago.
391. So he's done. He won't get back over 400, but a lot of people took action on that bet. Like I saw FanDuel pushing that one extremely hard and people were betting. I'm like, man, you got to go with history here. As good as he is, you got to go with history.
Yeah. I saw BetMGM said it's like one of their biggest liabilities of the entire year. And of course the year just started. He is also, even if he doesn't hit plus 400 or doesn't hit 400, he's like plus 130 to win the Triple Crown. That's only happened 12 times ever. And you're saying that there's basically a coin flip chance that he does it. That's kind of crazy.
He's a stud. I mean, the Yankees are really one injury away from not being good, and that's him. But he's been outstanding. They are minus 1,000 to win the American League East now. The Boston Red Sox are plus 1,700, and we are not even in June yet. So we have June, July, August, September. So we have 4 months of baseball left, and they're saying that the Yankees are minus 1,000 already to win the American League East. Grant, every morning I wake up, I check the playoff odds, I check the win total because I want to know how far off I am from my bet, like the pacing. So we can do this live this morning since I haven't done it yet. Playoffs, Red Sox to make the playoffs. Oh, dear God, plus 235. I had minus 130. Win totals, I had 85.5. It's probably 81.5, 80.5. Jesus. Okay. We're under 4. They're projecting them under 500 now, Grant. That's not good.
I mean, you can't blame Rafi anymore. He's swinging the bat.
He sucks. You know what? But here's the problem. He's not a team player. This is a team of prima donna babies that only care about themselves. And the manager is a player's manager. And that doesn't work when you have a bunch of prima donnas that only care about themselves. A player's manager works when you have a team of guys that are all for each other and want to play for each other every single night. And winning is the most important thing. And if winning was the most important thing to Rafael Devers, his ass would be on first base. Now, with that being said, he's still hitting fantastic. If he wasn't hitting the baseball, we would literally score no runs. We score about 1 a night. Without him, we would score no runs. With that being said, is he a team player? Hell no. So we need to figure out how to make this a team culture in Boston because it's hard to watch. Like I thought it was going to be a great summer. Watch the Red Sox every night. Go right into football season with my guy Drake May and my guy Baker Mayfield down in Tampa.
Yeah. So I saw this on Twitter. I don't know if I'm sure you've paid more attention to this than I have, but I thought it was pretty ridiculous that Garrett Crotchet this month, so five starts, yeah, 5 starts.
Crochet. I know you know we got it. You're not a Red Sox guy, but I don't want you to get abused in the comments section.
Thank you. Crochet, has a 2.03 ERA, and the Red Sox are 1-4 in those games.
No, they're terrible. They are a disgrace to the game of baseball. They should all be thrown out of the city.
I mean, this dude, I know him because he was cashing a bunch of my strikeout props last year. I'll be honest, with the White Sox, because he would pitch like 4 innings and his strikeout line would be over under 8.5, and it felt like he always went over. So I mean, go ahead.
This man won more games with the White Sox than he has won with the Red Sox. The White Sox last year were literally the worst team in the history of baseball, and now the Rockies have outdone them, but they were terrible. And he won more games with them. So I don't even know how that's possible. But, Grant, enough baseball talk. We're going to have plenty of baseball talk. I'm getting too fired up right now. We're going to talk some football today. And I'm going to get more fired up talking about Stefon Diggs. But before we do that, people, check out WSN.com, the World Sports Network, the best sports network for articles, promo codes, sports betting boosts, everything you want in the sports betting world. FanDuel, Caesars, BetMGM, boosts for everyone. Fanatics. What else am I missing?
ESPN bet.
What else am I missing? Bet365.
Is Unibet still around? I don't know.
I remember Unibet. Yeah, they didn't make it. Bet365. It's all on there. So go check it out. Get your promo codes. Link down in the description below. Also, articles. Grant's writing articles on the NBA. I'm writing articles on Major League Baseball. So make sure you guys check that out. All right, Grant. Stefon Diggs. What's your thoughts on this? Before we talk about is he washed or not, because he is, what's your thoughts on like a dumbness scale, like 1 to 10? What would you put this video at?
Well, so first of all, he wasn't recording, so I will give him that. It wasn't self-incrimination. Once you see the video camera go out, I'm honestly surprised people had their phones there, because a lot of time that celebrities hang out, especially when celebrities hang out with non-famous people, they confiscate phones. So I'm surprised that this was even able to go out. On a dumbness scale, well, that little bag that he was holding with some pink stuff in it, I don't want YouTube to take this video down, so I'm trying to think of how to say this properly. It was an alternative of Coca-Cola, if you follow what I'm saying there. That's what that pink stuff in that bag was, allegedly, but
I saw some people saying it was Mary Juan.
I mean, I guess it's possible, but no, it looked like I believe it's called Stussy. I don't know how to pronounce that. Stussy, I believe, which is Coca-Cola.
Yeah.
So for him to be having a bag of that and we didn't see him using it, it's common to bring party favors to when you go to a place like that. So I don't know. Bottom line, you're on a boat with your girlfriend who is a former stripper. Looks like you're around other strippers, or at least women who enjoy that sort of lifestyle. You allegedly have some nefarious items with you. It's just not a great look when you're not at mini camp with your team and you're coming off of a torn ACL and this team just traded for you. Again, we talk about situations where the optics can make them look worse than they really are, but it's still your job. You have to control the optics. And when you have done nothing for this fan base and you are coming off this big injury, like, you want to handle yourself with a certain level of professionalism, and this is just not doing that.
I have so many issues with this. I have so many issues with this. Number one, that was a high definition video camera. That was coming through in 4K on Twitter. Okay. That was not a phone. That looked too clear to be a phone.
You think it was one of those like $20,000 8K cameras the NFL has?
Honestly, it came through on Twitter like it was clear, like 4K. And even if it was a phone, let's be real. You got to know you're on camera there. You're not too sauced to understand that you're on camera. That's number one. So that's a big issue. Number two, you were literally on a boat giving away, something not good to other people on camera, and you play in the NFL and you're a wide receiver one, allegedly, or washed up wide receiver one. So that's also an issue. I mean, again, then you got the video. Then you got the videos of him like flirting with these girls. Like, you're dating Cardi B. I'm not saying like that's an issue too, I guess, by himself. But the biggest issue here is you are giving out something to people that is illegal, and you should not be doing that on video camera, especially when OTAs are going on and your ass should be in Foxborough, Massachusetts, getting passes thrown to you by Drake May.
Yeah, and in no way am I saying that everybody should be held to the standard of Tom Brady. But if you want an example of what a good leader looks like, look at Tom Brady. I mean, when he left the Patriots and he went to the Buccaneers, there were the COVID, it was the COVID, not lockdown, but there were restrictions on what you could do. So he met up with all of his teammates or all his receivers at a park and they just played catch. It's just things like that. Even Aaron Rodgers, when he went to the Jets, and Aaron Rodgers has not been accused of being a great teammate. When Aaron Rodgers went to the Jets, he was at the offseason events. He was going to basketball games and sitting courtside and hockey games and ingratiating himself with the fans. When you're going to this entirely new culture with a new team who's got a new head coach with a 21-year-old quarterback, there are just ways in which you should handle yourself. Even if you have to say, hey, look, I'm still rehabbing. I'm not ready to get out on the field. Whatever the case may be, just go to practice, shake some hands, talk to some people. You're going to be playing the season in the cold of New England, and you're down somewhere tropical on a boat partying while everybody else is working.
I mean, just the fact alone that this would have never happened with Tom Brady. I guarantee Stefon Diggs would have not been on that boat handing out a pink baggie when Tom Brady was the quarterback of this football team, because Tom Brady, I'm sure, would expect his number one wide receiver to have his ass at practice.
Can I say if Bill was the coach, Diggs would be off the team today?
Yeah. And Vrabel, I think Vrabel handled it as well as he could from a player's perspective. I'm sure he's getting after Diggs off the camera, but he didn't throw him under the bus, which was good, I guess, at this point. Or too early to, I guess, throw him under the bus. But if you were Stefon Diggs and you're brought in to truly be that wide receiver one, and this is another principle on why he is washed up, in my opinion. All these wide receiver ones are divas. We understand that. But you have a young quarterback. You're coming here. You're in a division where you can play against your former team twice, who doesn't seem like you have a great relationship with the Buffalo Bills. You can play against them twice this season. You can do something special. You can help Drake May become a great quarterback, and your ass is on a boat giving out the pink baggie on high definition video camera. Again, these guys are all humans. They're humans with a lot of money. So obviously they're going to do stuff. Don't be stupid enough to do it on camera. You've been in the league for a decade. You should not be stupid enough to be on camera at this point in your career. Grow up a little bit. This is something I expect from you at 24, not 32 when you're going to a new team.
My biggest takeaway from that video, Tanner, is it is Kyle Williams' season in fantasy football. Rookie, third-round draft pick, I believe, from Wazoo, 6'2", runs fast. Drake May's got nobody to throw to. Demario Douglas is not going to be the guy. Kayshon Boutte and Mac Hollins and Jalen Polk, they're not the guy. Kyle Williams' season. Buy stock now.
Yeah, again, and just going to Diggs, we can have this washed-up conversation too. You got a dude coming off a major injury at 32 years old.
I think he's 31. He might be 32 when the season
coming
starts.
Into his age 32 season.
Yeah.
So I should have specified that. But still, you got a guy coming into their age 32 season. He has played since 2015. So he's played 10 years in the league now, coming into his age 32 season off a major injury in a cold weather spot, which he's played in. So I don't want to hold that against him. Doing this kind of behavior in the offseason. Tell me he's not washed up.
And last year, he was on pace for 1,000 yards receiving, but he didn't get 100 yards in a single game. And his average catch was for 10.6 yards, which is incredibly low. I mean, that screams that CJ Stroud was kind of just force feeding him the ball, forcing him targets 3-4 yards away. Again, it's one thing to look at that number and say, okay, he was going to get 1,000 yards, but I think the average really says it all there.
Dude, he's going to be a non-factor this year. I would be shocked if he has. I mean, he'll probably have 1,000, but
I don't think so at all. I think he'll be wide receiver, maybe 2 or 3.
Well, the problem is for New England, you look at their wide receivers right now. He's going to be he's number one on paper, right? Stefon Diggs, Demario Douglas, Kyle Williams, Kayshon Boutte, Mac Hollins. I mean, I love Mac Hollins too, but Kendrick Bourne. There's nobody you look at there and be like, okay, that's the guy, right? But Stefon Diggs, if he's out there, defenses are going to key on him, and there's nobody else on that team that you say, hey, we can't just cover them one-on-one. So if that's the problem, like he's not going to get the open looks down the field. If he does start to become a factor, you're going to bracket him and then you're going to play one-on-one with everybody else. And there's not one receiver on that team that's going to consistently beat you in man coverage.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, really, there's a lot of pressure on Trey Hendrickson, who I think is a great player, but still, I mean, sometimes great players struggle as rookies. Like that's not something that's unheard of. And there's a lot of pressure on him because the Patriots, they got Will Campbell, which absolutely they deserve credit for. And they have rebuilt this offensive line a little bit, but still not an elite offensive line, nor was it anywhere close to being good the last time we saw them. The receivers still aren't great. You're depending on a lot of young guys really to paper over the cracks of what was just a very bad roster that was left in place.
And then also too with Travion Henderson, then you're going to have some drama with Ramondre Stevenson. Like they drafted him to replace Ramondre Stevenson. We know that, and you got Antonio Gibson there too. Like I think this offense is going to have a lot of points of contention. Then you see Drake May throwing interceptions in OTAs like it's his job right now too. So it's not a great time for the Patriots. I think this could be a season of high expectations, low results. I feel like this could be a Boston Red Sox type season where everybody pegged them to be this really good sports team, and then they kind of just fall short. And it makes sense why they would fall short. You still don't have an established quarterback. You don't have an established offense. You have a new offensive coordinator. You have a new head coach, new defensive coordinator, new coaches across the board. One of your guys who you're going to rely on to start for you on the offensive line is a rookie. It's just there's a lot of things here that point to them not being a good football team, even though their schedule says they should be a good football team.
And the head coach too. I think we both agree Vrabel is a top 10 coach in the NFL, and that's a major part of the reason why people do have so much confidence in this team. I look at that secondary and I see Carlton Davis and Christian Gonzalez, and I'm like, they got a top 3 cornerback pairing in the entire league with a great head coach and young quarterback with talent. There is a world in which they do win 8 games, but I think it's also, and this is what happens when we see teams with potential. We're like, oh, this is what they can be. This is what they can be. Well, that's if everything goes how we want it to. If it doesn't, this team could still win 3 games again.
I still think 8 would be on the verge of disappointment. 9 and 8, you did well. 8's not a disappointment because where you were at last year to where you are this year. 7 would be a total disappointment. And going back to Vrabel too, he is a very good coach. With that being said, though, he hasn't won anything. He's been to 1 AFC championship.
I mean, to do that with Ryan Tannehill is pretty impressive.
It is, but I mean, he's been to 1 AFC championship game.
He was at Ohio State when they won stuff. So, but that's a different level.
Been to 1 AFC championship game. So I'm not sold on Vrabel. Is he better than what they had last year? Yeah,
absolutely.
100%. Because there was no experience there on ever being a head coach. He only coached for 4 years, I think. Right.
By the way, I would push back on you saying 7 wins is a disappointment. I think to Bostonians or Patriots fans, I can get that. I can definitely get that. I think objectively, if they win 7 games and they're competitive against some of the better teams and they're fulfilling that potential, Will Campbell's playing well, Drake May's playing well, Travion's playing well. You can go into next season saying, okay, now 9 wins, 10 wins is the target. So I wouldn't say flatly 7 wins is a disappointment.
7 is an utter disappointment, Grant. You look at the schedule. The Raiders win. All right.
Okay. How about this? Instead of saying win, don't give me a win-loss of everything. Just say, name games that they have a realistic chance of winning, and then we can total how many of those there are.
Raiders, Dolphins, Steelers, Panthers, Saints, Titans, Browns, Falcons. Like Buccaneers is a hard game on their schedule on the road, but that's in November. But I'll say Bucks, like they could win that game. Jets, Joe Burrow, smoke them. Giants, Jets again. And that's so I gave you no wins I think I gave you 1 win for the Dolphins that they have a chance of, and then no wins for the Bills no wins for the Bills.
So I did not count the Bucks because I don't think they really have a chance there. But even with that, not counting that game, that's 11 games that you think they have a chance of winning.
Yeah, so 7 I think is disappointing. I mean, honestly, if you set the win total at 8.5 and you land at 7, you didn't do something right,
Yeah, I mean, that's to be fair. And this is a perfect world. We're not talking about injuries or anything like that.
No, I mean, yeah, you look at injuries can impact you a lot. We don't know if Drake May is that guy. Yeah, everyone's very sold on Drake May. I'm not sold on Drake May. We were sold on Mac Jones after 1 year. He was that guy, and he was a Pro Bowler. And he was a Pro Bowler, Grant. And we were sold on him. And then, then 2 years later, everyone thinks he's the worst thing ever. He set the franchise back 15 years. So I'm not sold on Drake May yet.
Yeah, I'm not sold either. You saw the playmaking, you saw the athleticism, and I think a big part of the optimism and the belief in Drake May is that he is so young. I think he's still 21 or 22, and he didn't play much college ball. So it's not necessarily about production at this point. You would like it, but it's really, is the potential there, and then is he fixing some of his mistakes? And I think people saw some of that last year, but they also saw him struggle. But the roster was just so bad that it's like you can't even really judge the kid. You have to give him a chance.
Here's the biggest thing that you need from Drake May, too. You need him to be able to call up Stefon Diggs and say, get your ass to OTAs, and for him to listen. That's the biggest thing. Like right now, if you're Drake May, and that's where you take the next step as a quarterback when it's your team. Like you can make all the throws. Can you make them under pressure? I don't know. But can you get the guys to practice that need to be at practice and get them in the right direction? That's why Tom Brady was so good. Like we look at Tom Brady, he was able to control Antonio Brown for a period of time. For a short period of time, he controlled Antonio Brown. It's
also
hard.
Very different when you're Tom Brady and Drake May.
It is, but you're still the quarterback, and the quarterback commands respect.
So okay. So if I'm just saying, if Stefon Diggs is looking at this like, I've been in the league for 10 years, I've been a Pro Bowler, I've been an All-Pro, I've been to conference championship games, you're a rookie who went 4-13 in your first year. Why would you even dare calling me?
Not somebody I want on the team then. And I would go to Vrabel. If that was the case, if you got that answer from him, if Drake May calls up Stefon Diggs and like, yo, Stefon, stop dealing on the boat and get your ass to practice and do it in a better way than that. Stefon, why don't you come to practice? Like, let's get you here. Like, whatever. I don't even know how you say it, but make the phone call. And Diggs says, you're a rookie. You went 4-13. You suck. Like all this shit. Like you got to go to Vrabel and be like, Braves, what do I do here? Get your input, because if that's the answer he's giving to a starting quarterback, that's not somebody that you want there. So I hope Drake May has made the effort to get him to practice. And if that is the answer, Diggs will not be in New England very long. Like that's the bottom line.
Something that I don't want to, I try not to bring conversations back to the Commanders just because I'm a fan of them. This is not a fan conversation. This is genuinely, I think they showed us something about roster building with a young quarterback last year, which is, do you remember during the offseason when they were signing Bobby Wagner and Austin Eckler and Zach Ertz, and everybody was saying, this is the unction. This is the retirement party. What are they doing? Well, they may not have gotten the tier 1 guys. They may not have gotten the defensive player of the year caliber guys, but they made it so that there was going to be an obvious culture in the locker room. There were not going to be any issues. You had leaders and veterans in every position group. And in this sort of situation where Drake May, I don't know if Drake May has earned the respect of his teammates yet. I don't think they hate him. Like, I don't think they're out on him, but is he a guy who's leading the locker room right now? I don't know. And I would guess probably not. So in that situation, would it have been helpful for the front office to say, you know what, maybe we don't actually want to win 10 games this year. Maybe we're cool with winning 6 games, but we're going to get the ship moving in the right direction. And we're going to get everybody pulling the rope. When you bring in Stefon Diggs, not just to mention his, scattered history as a locker room guy aside, you remember that video the Vikings did where they asked everybody, who would you least want to come around your sister to date your sister? And everyone said Stefon Diggs.
That's not what you want.
That's already in the back of your head. Then you got to add, he is 31, coming off that major injury. It's a questionable decision to sign him in free agency when you look at it.
And you needed explosion because of what the damages of the past years have put you in a situation where you just need somebody, because if you don't have Stefon Diggs, realistically, you have no offense. They have no chance of being explosive down the field at all. They barely have a chance of being explosive with them. But I get why you did it from that perspective. I also like what you were saying, though, about bringing in team guys, bringing in the right people. You don't think the front office right now is shitting their pants over this boat video? You don't think like, damn, what did we do here? And you know, I look at the Patriots roster, whether if it's not Drake May, who is it? Who's that guy that offensively can make a call to Stefon Diggs and be like, what are you doing? Like
Will Campbell.
Yeah, Will Campbell. Short arm Will Campbell. Like Drake May, if he can't do it, Ramondre sure as hell can't do it. We hired a replacement for Ramondre Stevenson. Demario Douglas ain't going to do it. Matt Collins, Kayshon Boutte, Kendrick Bourne, Kyle Williams. No. Hunter Henry, maybe?
No.
Maybe?
This is a Vrabel. This is a Drake May or a Vrabel phone call only.
It's got to be a Vrabel. It's got to be what the F are you doing, man? What the hell are you doing? Get your ass to practice. Don't be doing this.
And I trust Vrabel to get across. I think he has the personality to get across to in a situation like this.
Vrabel's a team guy. He didn't throw Stefon on. Like, you could tell he was very angry about it at practice, but he's like, we talk to our players about making great decisions every day. Starts on the field, you know, great decision, great run the grass route. Like he gave a very player answer, which was good to see. But looking at this AFC right now as a whole, Grant, I think this is an interesting conversation because it leads into, you know, Stefon Diggs' old team, the Buffalo Bills, or 2 teams ago, the Buffalo Bills. You have the Kansas City Chiefs. The dynasty may be over. Some people are saying it's over. You know, I think who did ESPN do a documentary like The Last Dance, or they're doing one?
I think they are doing one because it was supposed to conclude with the Super Bowl, and of course they lost.
Yeah, which is honestly the great ones go out on their back. So that's probably a perfect way to end that documentary. And then you have the Baltimore Ravens, Lamar fumble Ruski, and then you have the Bengals, Joe Burrow, no defense Bengals. So interesting landscape of the AFC. How do you see it playing out as we get down the stretch here?
Well, the odds makers, once again, the infatuation with the Buffalo Bills. If you remember, like 4 years ago, maybe even 5, was around the time they were the off-season favorites to win the Super Bowl. Josh Allen was the favorite to win MVP, and then the Chiefs would beat them, and the Bengals would beat them. Next year, it's like, oh, hey, Bills still favored to win the Super Bowl. Josh Allen still favored to win MVP. It's funny that as soon as the odds makers lost faith in them, Josh Allen did win the MVP, and they got to the conference championship game. And now we find ourselves back in a familiar spot because the Bills are the only team favored to win all 17 games next year. And I was looking at their schedule, and don't get me wrong, they could have a good record, but they start week 1 with the Ravens. They have the Chiefs on the schedule. They have the Buccaneers. They are at the Texans, and then the week after at the Steelers. Not that the Steelers are the hardest team, but second straight road game. You've got the Eagles on the schedule. I don't see them going undefeated. Again, could they go 15-2, 14-3? Sure, they could, but this whole, and you see this in the win totals. They're favored to win all 17 games, but their win total is over or under 11.5 wins. You know, the odds makers know there's margin for error. There's days where they don't show up. So I would be expecting something like we saw last year, 13-4, 12-5. If we're talking about who is my pick to win the AFC, I'll be honest, and I've said this on the show for probably 6 to 9 months now. I thought last year was the Chiefs last year, at least in this current iteration. You know, Brady went 10 years between winning Super Bowls. Could Mahomes not win a Super Bowl for 5-6 years and then win another? Absolutely. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is this current iteration of the Chiefs is done. I think they'll win 10 or 11 games next year, and that's still a good season, but I don't think they're going to dominate everybody. I see no reason why the Baltimore Ravens should not be the number 1 seed in the AFC and why they shouldn't be favored to win the AFC and go to the Super Bowl and then maybe even win the Super Bowl. The only thing which it's not even really tangible is just Lamar struggles in the big playoff games. But I loved how he played against the Steelers early. I think it was the first round last year. And then in the conference or the divisional round, he played a really good second half. It was a bad first half, but a really good second half. And so I think you're seeing some of the playoff struggles start to go away. If he can just put together 3 games of good play in the playoffs, then I see no reason why the Ravens aren't the team to beat.
And also, too, you look at how the final game went for the divisional. What was it? The Bills. Bills was the divisional round, right? So you look at the divisional round, and if he doesn't put the ball on the ground there and they don't return it like 70 yards and give up a touchdown, that's a spot where, you know, you take that play away. Lamar actually did his job. You go to the drops, the fumble across the field by Mark Andrews. That was the biggest one. It wasn't the 2-point conversion, because at that point, if you're relying on a 2-point conversion to get you into the game to tie it at that point, right? I believe
Yep.
that's not the situation. You can't, that's not a high probability play. He should have caught it. It was an easy catch. It was in his hands. But the biggest issue was when they were cooking, driving down the field. Lamar was driving. That would have taken the lead, I believe, when Mark Andrews fumbled on the 40 going in, and they were not going to be stopped on that drive one bit. That was the play that killed them.
Yeah, I agree. Lamar. And when you look at their defense, because the defense was a big problem at the start of the year, I want to say they were like 27th in defense going into the bye week and then first coming out of it. And it's a young defense too. Not to mention, this is, I think, one of the most underrated picks in the entire NFL draft was Malachi Starks going to the, I mean, it's just such a typical Ravens pick. The Ravens did it with Malachi Starks. The Eagles did it with Jihad Campbell. It's like, how did they get this guy who's just so good and he's perfect for what they need? Well, it's always the good teams who get those draft picks because they don't have holes. They don't need a player in this spot. They're just saying, yeah, we're just going to take the best guy. And when they picked at 27, I believe it was clearly Malachi Starks. So this secondary, which still has Marlon Humphrey and Nate Wiggins was coming on strong. Kyle Hamilton's a freak, best safety in the league probably. And now you drop Malachi Starks in there with Mike Green also now pouring off the edge. Like this roster from top to bottom, we always talk about being the Eagles. I think it's the Ravens have the best top to bottom roster in the NFL this year. Lamar, as far as the regular season goes, has been the best quarterback in the NFL for like 3 or 4 years now. And he just needs to put it together in the playoffs. And Derrick Henry doesn't look like he's slowing down either. He had 1,900 yards last year.
He got screwed when it came to the MVP award last year. He should have won it again.
He was better than Josh in every single way.
By far. This was a better season than when he won the MVP. It was ridiculous.
Yeah, this was I don't want to call it a pity vote because Josh played very well, but he largely won the MVP because he stopped throwing interceptions, and Lamar had fewer interceptions than him.
It was in all like 4 of them weren't even his fault, or like 3 of the 4.
He only had 4 all year, and all 4 of them were dropped.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. So I look at Josh Allen's like the poster child of the NFL, and I like Josh Allen. I'm a Josh Allen guy. With that being said, though, we boost him up because he can't win the big game either. Like Lamar is self-inflicted errors in the big game. I guess the Chiefs have beaten him and just like smacked him in the ground, but it was more just he didn't do his job. Where Josh, like the Chiefs legitimately beat the Buffalo Bills every single time. It's not one thing that cost them the game. It changes every time, and the Chiefs find ways to beat Buffalo. With the Ravens, it's always self-inflicted errors. So that's the difference there. I don't know why everyone's so high on the Bills. People have been high on the Bills for a long time. And again, they're going to get there, I think, eventually because they have Josh Allen. But the team, as far as what everyone has, the Ravens are leaps and bounds better than the Bills and the Kansas City Chiefs right now and the Cincinnati Bengals.
Yeah, I know we're putting the Bengals in this conversation because it's quarterbacks league. And if you've got Joe Burrow, you have to be in the conversation. But why would we trust them? What have they given us to show us that they are complete enough to go on a real run in the playoffs?
Whatever happened with Hendrickson?
He's still doesn't have a contract, is not going to practice, and he's pissed. Like every chance he gets, he goes to the media, is like, yeah, get me out of here. They're not paying me.
But when they do that, they get fined, right? Like
I'm sure he is.
So like he could just say, I'm not playing this year, get fined, and
yeah.
That's so weird.
Also, keep in mind here, they drafted Shemar Stewart in the first round, probably to replace Trey Hendrickson, and now they haven't agreed to a contract with a rookie. When has that ever happened?
Yeah, I mean, Trey Hendrickson, I was shocked. I think he's 30, right?
He's 30 or 31, yeah.
Which is, he doesn't feel that old, but like, I understand if you don't want to sign him, but you probably got to trade him if you don't sign him coming off the year he had.
Yeah, I don't know why he hasn't been traded at this point. It seemed I think some team would give you a first-round pick for him.
A contender.
What'd you say?
A contender.
I was going to say, I think the Lions and the Commanders two teams who really need edge rushers. Hutchinson's coming back, sure, but we saw one injury last year and their defense was just crippled. I think either one of those teams would give you, if you could find a way to pit them against one another and say, like, hey, we're trading him to one of you guys, whoever offers a first round pick first gets him, I think you would get that deal done overnight.
Shemar Stewart's wild. The fact that he has not signed a rookie contract.
Well, so this is the thing that I'm so confused by. He can't really demand more money. You know, like he can't demand
contracts. They're all stock contracts.
Yeah. So what is there to argue over?
He said it was language within the contract. Like maybe it's something that like he can or can't do outside of football. I don't know.
Is it like NIL, you know, like is it a jersey sales thing? Like I'm just confused.
I mean, as far as like what they make, like they make what they make. Like the first pick of the draft makes this, the second pick of the draft makes this. So it can't be money. It says language, a contract dispute specifically concerning language in his rookie contract. Clauses related to the potential voiding of future guarantees, with the Bengals wanting the language that triggers a default in all remaining years if there's a default in the current year. Stewart wants the language to be consistent with the contracts of previously first-round draft picks. So he wanted to mirror people who were drafted before him.
Well, I mean, that makes sense. If I'm piecing this together correctly, what that means is that if the Bengals are saying you're getting this much money with this guaranteed for 4 years, but if you tear your Achilles, then you lose some of the guaranteed money. And that would not just be for the year that the injury happens, it would be for every year in the contract.
Yeah, I guess so. But like guaranteed money is guaranteed money. Maybe they void like what they can void what if they, I don't know. We don't, it's all just language, but my thing is, if he's the only one having issues with this, when all these contracts are very similar, I'm just very confused on that. If nobody else has had an issue with this and the Players Association hasn't made whatever he's talking about brought to the forefront in CBAs and all that, like, why are we even having this discussion? You would think somebody else would be angry about the wording in their rookie contract to a point where their agent would tell them to hold out.
And I forget who, but there's some team out there fully guaranteed the contract of a second round pick. That was the first time in NFL history it had happened. It was only a first round pick thing. So like I struggled to believe that if he was on another team, he wouldn't have a contract and be at practice already. This just feels like a Bengals thing. I mean, they're a historically cheap franchise. This happens all the time. And it's so Bengals to not give your defensive end the contract he wants, but then not trade him while he's demanding one and then not pay his replacement who you drafted.
Well, they're probably in a good spot because they don't care about making anyone happy. You know, like they don't care. Like they're in a good spot. I mean, the employer is always in the spot of power because they sign the checks. So if Trey Hendrickson doesn't want to play this year, all right, you're going to miss a year. You're going to miss a whole year and then have to go play somewhere else. Your value is going to be a lot less if you don't play football this year. And then Shemar Stewart, he will sign because he has to sign with them. He can't not sign with them. You want to go play in Canada, Shemar? Go play in Canada. You know? So
well, I mean, that's what Caleb was going to do.
Yeah, so that was crazy too. But you look at just this whole situation here, the Bengals are in the position of power because of the fact that they write the checks. And if it might not be the best team culture there, but you still got Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, and T. Higgins.
And I need to give Burrow credit. He is going to bat for his guys. He was saying all of last year, stop franchise tagging T. Higgins, pay the man. Jamar Chase saying, you know, he had to take out the $50 million insurance policy. It's ridiculous. Pay the man. With Trey Hendrickson, every chance he's gotten, he's like, yeah, we need Trey back. They need to pay him. So shout out to Joe Burrow.
The Bengals got to the Super Bowl with literally no offensive line. They were one win away from the playoffs last year with literally no defense, and they lost. You look at the Patriots game week 1, they didn't score at all. And there was a lot of dumb offensive coaching moves that they had, which cost them games too. But if you're a GM or the owner, or you're the GM and you're not allowed to give money to the players from the owner, like they're probably thinking, hey, we got Jamar Chase, we got Joe Burrow, we got T. Higgins. We can get by with that. defensively, if we got to score 40 points because they're giving up 38 a game, we can do that. That's their strategy. And if you know what, Trey Hendrickson doesn't want to play this year, it's only going to hurt himself. So he can hold out all he wants. And Shemar Stewart's going to sign. Like, so that's, I'm not saying that's the best thing for team culture, because if I'm a guy looking at how that's going, like, I'm not happy showing up to work every day because they're not giving players what they deserve. But it's not like Joe Burrow, T. Higgins, and Jamar Chase aren't going to show up on Sunday and play football. The culture might be shit in the locker room, but they're still going to put up numbers.
I wonder at what time it's going to be when Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, one of them says enough is enough. This organization doesn't attract the top free agents. They don't pay guys properly. They don't take care of their players. I want out of here.
And that's what it would probably take. And if you're the Bengals in that situation, like, as you're not, Joe Burrow, I don't think is going to do that.
I think it would have to be Jamar. And the weird thing in all of this is Jamar and Joe are like best friends. So that's going to hold him in place even more. If it was a, just pick your random top wide receiver who didn't go to LSU. Like if it was AJ Brown, after a few years of this, I could see AJ Brown forcing his way out. I struggle to see Jamar doing that.
But it's not like they're not winning, and I think they like Zach Taylor. It seems like they do. It seems like he does a pretty good job connecting with his players. You couldn't have gone to the Super Bowl if you didn't. But Jamar Chase, 4 years, $161 million. T. Higgins, 4 years, $115. Joe Burrow's making a boatload of money. They're winning some football games. Like they're still. Where are you going to go if you leave Cincinnati? Where are you going to go?
Washington. We'll take him.
Yeah, I will. From the receiver standpoint, from the quarterback standpoint, if you're Joe Burrow, you are in as great of an offensive situation as you will ever be, and you will never get in this good of an offensive situation anywhere else that you go to, because those teams that have good offensive situations have quarterbacks. So it's really hard, because the Bengals kind of got everyone by the balls here, Grant, when you really think about it.
Burrow could go to Pittsburgh.
He could go to Pittsburgh. Why would he ever want to go to Pittsburgh, though?
Well, they would never trade him to a division rival. But I'm just saying, if we're talking about good teams who have a quarterback need, Pittsburgh would be at the top of the list.
And that's the thing, too. All these guys, like, Jamar Chase and T. Higgins and Joe Burrow, they all love playing together. They could, if one wants to trade, whoop-de-freaking-do. The Bengals don't have to trade him. That's the thing.
Imagine if a team traded for Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow as a package deal.
You would get like first round picks for the next 15 years.
Yeah.
But yeah, Bengals will be fine. I don't think they'll be the Super Bowl champions, but you never know, because they're the only team that can beat the Chiefs. And I trust Joe Burrow. If that offense gets cooking, like I trust him. I trust him. No matter what.
I still don't think the Chiefs are the biggest threat, though. I think it's the Ravens.
The Chiefs aren't the biggest threat, but as far as a team that, they're not going to make self-inflicted errors in the playoffs, the Chiefs are still a big threat. Like, yeah,
it's like you want to beat the king, you got to go through him, sort of deal. And the Eagles did it, but nobody in the AFC has done it.
No, like Lamar just like literally craps on his ankles every time he steps foot on a playoff football field. Josh Allen has nightmares of Patrick Mahomes as we speak right now. So while the Chiefs may not be the dynasty, they are going to show up in the playoffs and not cause self-inflicted errors. And if you just do that in football games, you have a great chance of winning. So I still am going to put them as the number one team until somebody takes them down within the conference.
That's perfectly understandable.
Yeah. Well, Grant, anything else before we wrap up here?
No. It's nice to do a check-in on the NFL real quick. I mean, we do have the NBA playoffs tonight. Knicks, Pacers, you got the Pacers closing it out. We go in game 6. What's happening?
I think the Knicks will win. I kind of think the Knicks will win at home. Like, we've seen the desperation come out. By the way, the Timberwolves last night, like that was Naz Reid was horrendous. He was terrible. They were all bad, every single one of them. But Naz Reid was very bad. Jaden McDaniels was terrible. Alexander Walker, terrible. They were all bad.
I tweeted, this is just the definition of going out sad. Your season was on the line, and they had 25 points with 3 minutes left in the second quarter.
It was terrible. Like
they had 7 points 11 minutes into the game.
I don't even know how they were. They looked like they had never played basketball, and it wasn't it wasn't so much what the Thunder were doing. The Thunder were playing elite defense. Don't get me wrong, but they missed wide open layups. They tried to do, they were pressing too much. Like, I'm going to take the basketball. I'm Naz Reid, and I'm going to dribble into 3 men right in the middle of the paint and try to do a layup while holding the ball down at my knees, bringing it up top, where like I'm definitely going to get stripped.
The Angel
like,
Reese.
He looked like Angel Reid. They looked like Angel Reid. They I hate to say this, they look like a WNBA team out there. They did.
Well,
a bad
one. I couldn't believe what I was watching. Like you said, the Thunder played great defense. It's not like this just happened out of nowhere, but I couldn't believe how bad the Timberwolves were. I picked them to cover the spread of 8.5 points, and they lost by 30.
They did not cover anything. No. They were horrendous. So it was a rough game.
I think the Knicks will win tonight too, as well, by the way.
Yeah. Anyways, Grant, that was Ride the Line for May 29th. We're on YouTube a day early. This will be on audio tomorrow, but we're on YouTube a day early. So you guys on YouTube that subscribed, you get a little extra package deal here. So make sure you keep subscribing, keep liking, keep sharing. We're approaching 200 subs. It's a big deal. We're going to throw a party here on the podcast when we hit it.
Yeah, 100%. So guys, please, if you want to be a part of the journey, hit the subscribe button, also hit the like button as well, and jump in the comments. Let us know what you think of what we talked about. Is the Chiefs dynasty over? Are the Ravens the team to beat in the AFC? Let us all know. We will respond to all comments, and we will catch you all in the next episode of Ride the Line.